Welcome back. Running through a second play of this smaller scenario called Dogs of War from Line of Battle. It's in the Last Chance for Victory module. And it's playing out somewhat differently. The first two turns, 6 p.m., 6:15 p.m., saw a lackluster effort from the Confederate artillery in its impact upon the units that it could see along this red crest line here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on that and try not to let the camera fall over, even though it's on a dolly. It tends to come loose because little hex key screws loosen up over time. So largely ineffective. And then so then these guys closed up and got close enough, basically in a line along here, I think at the 6:15 turn, and then pressed in and had mixed results. But what the Union did was pull back behind these crest lines so that they were out of the line of fire of the majority of the artillery, which takes away one of the big advantages in this particular little scenario that the Confederates have. So rather than sitting on this crest line and being a target, I thought it would be better for them to sit back. Now, one downside to that is that this unit here, for instance, if it was here and looking to close and then potentially charge, it can move into this hex freely. It doesn't have to make a closing roll because of the fact that it's not in the line of sight of this particular guy here. Although, it may have had to make a line of sight. I may have had to make a closing roll because of this. So there's that. That's something I would have to check. And then so now it only has to make one roll, which would be to close for the charge into here. These guys would get their opening volley shot, which is basically defensive fire. They take a shot, and in this case, we lost a step and survived our morale roll and didn't have to retreat, and we're not shaken. And similarly, except that there was a loss here for this unit, the HQ, the leader was killed, so we put a replacement in. These guys took step loss. They passed their, very luckily, as a C rated morale, passed their morale check and did not have to retreat, nor were they shaken or disrupted. So a bit of a static line here. And the same thing basically happened right across here, except for this one hex here where we advanced into the hex after forcing these units back. And that then allowed us to press in here. Now, in the Confederate turn, in the Union turn, it'll be interesting to see what we can do here, because we're in a zone of control. I don't believe we can change facing, so there might be some musketry and rifle fire exchanged right along the line here. Although we do have some shaken elements here, a little bit. It's like almost being disrupted or disorganized, but not quite as bad. It only really affects you when you have to do a morale check. There's a +1 to the morale check die roll. Wofford along this side, these guys have done a good job pressing in here. I'm still coming to terms with the line of sight. There's a lot of double checking, and it's something I think when we play, assuming that I get to go to this conference in October, this con in October, that we'll be doing a lot of practice on line of sight, given this under 5 hex rule, and then over 5 hex using the slope mechanics rule. Very interesting and different. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up here. We're going to now do the Union turn and see what transpires, and we'll check in later on if something exciting happens. All the best.